Hi, welcome back to Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold. I'm here with John Gardner with Farmers Insurance. And John, we were talking about insurance, and I want to drill down on auto insurance.
Okay.
And what does auto insurance cover? Comp and collision, what does all that mean?
Well,
break it down a little bit.
Let's take you through the steps, because most policies look almost identical, and they talk about this thing called liability. And so what does that mean? And the example I like to use with people is if you run me over, I'm walking down the street, you run me over, I live in California, most naturally I'm going to want to recover my losses. I'm probably going to sue you. Liability is what protects you as the owner of the vehicle for when I sue you to pay for any damages that you may have caused me. Also, any damage you might have caused my car. That's called property damage. So that's the liability piece. You have what's called uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists. This is an important piece. It's a lot of times overlooked by people. And really what it does is it protects you. Again, if I hit you and I'm not insured, what do you do? Where do you go? You could try to sue me, but I probably don't have anything. The uninsured motorist steps in and basically takes care of what I should have taken care of for you. It steps in on your behalf. And underinsured is important as well, because a lot of people out there may have insurance, but they have the minimums. And the minimums are incredibly low. Mm-hmm. And so what it does is it steps in to pick up the difference that I would have owed you. So you've got the underinsured and uninsured motorists. And then you mentioned comp and collision. Really, collision is the easiest one to talk about, because if you collide with anything, it could be colliding with another car, it could be colliding with a post, it could be backing up and hitting a fence.
I've done that.
Yes, I think we all have it one time or another, and it's hitting the fence, whatever that is. That's what collision is. It's what covers your car, the damage you do to your own car in a loss such as that. Comp is pretty much anything else that can happen to your car. So it could be stolen, it could be vandalized, somebody could key the car, or a rock could fall on the car, or windshield cracks. Any of these other things, catch on fire, any of these other things that might happen to your car are covered under comp, because it stands for comprehensive, really, and that's really the type of coverage it provides.
And does it cover wind damage, you said, but what about driving through the desert? Your car gets pelted with sand.
Sandstorm, absolutely. Yeah. That kind of damage, again, unless it's specifically excluded and you have like, nuclear accident or something like that. For the most part, almost everything is going to be covered under comp that can do damage to your car.
Okay. And what are ways to save?
Well, the best way to save on auto insurance is for those people who have auto and home insurance is to put them with the same carrier. Most carriers offer significant discounts, 20–25% discounts on both sides, on both the home side and the auto side. So that's one important piece. Another important way to do it, one of the biggest costs is when you have a teenage driver. This is one of the questions I get. Teenage driver. And
I'm going to have one of those soon.
Okay, so let me share with you, because the natural thought is to say, let's not get a car because we'll save the money. But a lot of times what it turns out, it's actually cheaper or less expensive to insure 2 cars versus 1 car. Let me explain. If you took a car that's an older car that you're not so much worried about the value of the car, then that basically half the cost is built into insuring it for comp and collision. So if you're not so much worried about that and you decide, I'm going to insure it for liability and uninsured motorists, you'll cut out half the cost. Now take that same teenager and put them on your car. You want that full coverage, and you've got a teenager on the car, so you've doubled or tripled your cost. It's actually less to buy this car over here, and of course it's going to make your teenager a lot happier too.
Right.
It's less to buy the insurance for this car over here, and overall you're going to have a lower insurance bill.
Yeah, and you put them on that car.
Exactly.
I
exactly.
Love it. Good. Any other ideas on deductible?
Yeah. One of the other things is the deductibles. When we talked about comprehensive and collision, one of the things is you pay a deductible. Most people have something that says $500 or $1,000 on their policy, and that's really the money that you pay first before the insurance company pays. Or essentially what happens is when you take the car in, they fix the car. When you go pick up the car, you pay the deductible. Mm-hmm. So that's how that process works. A lot of times what you can do is you can look at that deductible and say, what happens if we raise it from $500 to $1,000 or $1,000 to $2,000?
So now I have to come up with the first $1,000 for the
Correct.
repair of a car or liability.
Now that may be the case, but if I told you that you might save $250 a year
you make
by
that
doing
money
that
back in 4 years.
In 4 years, exactly. So those are the equations you want to look at and say, does it make sense? But never go beyond your point of comfort on what you're willing to shell out if something does happen.
To write a check for.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about something to cover you on top of the liability of your home and auto, which is an umbrella policy.
Yeah, an umbrella policy is one of those policies that most people don't really understand. What it does is you have liability in your car. Again, we talked about that situation if you were to run me over, what I would do. Well, most auto policies might go up to $250,000 worth of coverage. Some may up to $500,000. But certainly, you run over the wrong person, it's going to cost more than that. So, and plus people have assets to protect, because realistically that's what the insurance is there for, to protect your assets. Well, if you're sitting on $2–3 million worth of assets to protect, then you need something that goes above what that auto policy can do, and that's what an umbrella does. An umbrella adds an extra layer of liability on top of what your auto provides and on top of the liability that your homeowner provides. Where it gets misunderstood, it doesn't give you more coverage for the home if something happened to the home. It's really only the liability where you're responsible to somebody else. It gives you that extra layer of coverage that you might need to protect your assets.
Yeah, very good, because one accident, several people in the car.
It happens. I mean, you see it out
Sadly
here.
enough, it does, and you want to make sure you're protected. And you want to make sure there's enough insurance to cover that individual if it's your fault, because that's the right thing to do as Americans, you know.
Absolutely.
It's the right thing to do to make sure you take care of somebody that might have had an injury to your fault. Let's talk about business insurance.
Okay.
You do offer business insurance.
We offer business insurance to many small businesses. The interesting thing about business insurance, it's a lot like a homeowner policy, really, when you think about it, because it covers your business items. You may have an office, for example, desks, computers, things like that. So just like a home policy, it covers your business belongings. You may own a building. Let's say your business owns a building. Well, just like a homeowner, it covers the building. We talked about the loss of use if you had to move out. Well, what happens if your business, let's say you're a restaurant, and your business is interrupted for a month because of a fire or something? Well, you want to be able to keep your valuable people and be able to pay them. You still may have to pay your lease. You've lost some income. The insurance policy reimburses for those losses as well, just the same way it does for loss of use. And of course, the liability piece is the same. If something happens in your business where somebody comes in, you know, they are going to look for, wow, you know, some people see this as an opportunity, even though it's not. You know, the liability is there to protect you as the business owner as well.
Protect everything you've built over the years.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. John, thank you very much. I know you're an ambassador. You're on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce, Farmers Insurance Group. If someone watching this show wants to get a hold of you, how can they reach you?
The best way to reach me is via phone, and that's 661-775-9244. Or on the web, it's www.john, which is Jon, JohnGardnerInsurance.com.
JohnGardnerInsurance.com. Thank you for all you do for the community. Thank you for all you do. And thanks for this information. Very valuable.
All right, thank you, Fred.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Out of the Rough. If you'd like to watch this show online, go to scvtv.com or fredarnold.com. If you have any questions for me or any of our guests, email me, fred@fredarnold.com, and I'll get them answered for you. Well, I hope this information gets you out of the rough. Have a great day.